is our first interview with, do you want me to call, how do you want me to call you? Do you want me to call you by your Chris Clardy? How do you want me to
Yeah,
say? Yeah.
yeah, that's what I go by. That's what my website is Chris Clardy. Clardy is a family name. So it's a lot of folks interpret that as clarity, like it's like a part of my mediumship,
Yeah.
and I didn't even realize that.
Mhm.
Clardy is I am Irish, and that is a family name. It's my from my grandmother's my paternal grandmother's side of the family. It goes back pretty far. So I've got many generations of a lot of Irish and a little bit of Scottish. And when I went down the rabbit hole, I thought I had some German in me, and I don't.
Ah, interesting.
So
Okay.
I'm mostly Irish, German, or I'm sorry, Irish, Scottish, and English, and I have a little bit of Native American. My great grandfather was half Apache.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. So you
and
got all
it
kinds of
was
stuff.
it was great grandpa Clardy. He was half
Oh,
Apache.
wow. Okay. Interesting. I love that.
So
Did you do
yeah.
like one of those um like did you do a whole DNA test or did you just kind
Yeah.
of do genealogy? Okay.
Yeah, I did. I did one of those ancestry things. Actually, a family member ordered one too many of them, and so I got a freebie, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do it. And yes, so that's how I ended up doing it a few years ago, and I was like, huh, this is pretty interesting. And another family member ended up doing one because this was several years ago. And apparently, when they first started doing these genealogy tests, there wasn't enough samplings of Native American genes to show up on a lot of these
Oh.
tests. So I'm like, oh, I know great grandpa Clardy was half Native American. Why isn't this showing up? And then my cousin, couple of years later, contacted me. He's like, "I heard this happened to you too." And I'm like, "Yeah." So he's the one who went down the rabbit hole and found out that there just wasn't enough samples yet to show up on a lot of these genealogy reports. But now there is, so you can verify it now. But it was several
Wow.
years ago when we started it, so it's
Wow.
kind of
That
crazy how
makes
that works.
yeah, that makes total sense. I
Yeah,
never would have thought that before.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's very enlightening
yeah.
actually. So thank
It's
you for
kind of
sharing.
cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's where the last name comes from.
Okay. Okay. I have always wondered that, honestly. I'm like, is this
Yeah,
part of like her like, is this part of
yeah,
her like name, or what?
yeah.
Because I know you never know really,
Right.
you really don't. Like I know someone with the last name of Love, for example. My middle name is my middle name, but sometimes people are like try to debate me about Lilith. I'm like, it has nothing to do with that. Please, it has nothing to do with that. So so thank you for doing
Yep.
that. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Okay. Um, so I'm gonna just ask you questions and it doesn't have to, we don't have to, it doesn't have to be super formal or whatever, but
Okay.
we'll just see where it flows. And
Okay.
cool. Um, the first time I met you was at Illuminate, and I don't know if you remember, but it was one
Yep.
of the drive-by or like I don't know, that sounded weird, but like the one with the pets so you could bring your
Yep.
animals in. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I think that was with Danielle and I were doing the mini readings and Reiki.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
And I
Yeah.
I got in like right before you were leaving. I got up
Yeah.
here as usual. That's kind of how I was operating for a long time. And I showed you this kitten that was he was on this. I was trying to rescue him. He was
Hmm.
in a parking lot, and he was like impossible to trap because he had gotten caught and then he the latch wasn't latched. So he escaped. So we could like never get him back in a carrier again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was so worried about him. And now he's like 16 pounds. He lives
Oh
with
my
me.
gosh.
He's a huge, not just because he's not overfed, he's just tall and long,
He's
you
just
know?
a big guy.
He's a big guy. Yeah. So yeah, I love
That's
that because I
awesome.
didn't expect him to stay with me. He was supposed to go to like two other places. And so that was our introduction.
Oh
And
my gosh.
yeah, it's
Wow.
really cool.
Wow. That's pretty cool how things start, and this one had a really good outcome and happy ending that he was supposed to end up with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
cool.
He's very sweet, very special. Aren't they all? Aren't the animals all so special?
Oh, they are. They all have their special place with us, and that's actually something that I tell people when I get a lot of people when I'm doing readings for them that are trying to reconnect with ones that they've lost. And that seems to be the most common reason why people end up coming to me, because they've lost a pet that they are so attached to and that has made such a big impact on their life that they don't know how to. It's not the process of letting go. It's the process of, did they do they understand what happened to them? Are they
Mhm.
upset about what happened to them? And are they upset with me because of what happened to them? And explaining that process to people, and letting them know that each and every one of these guys, when they come to us, they're coming to us to teach us life lessons. And they all have this different impact on our life, whether it be because we need at that point to have this unconditional love in our lives that is going to distract us from whatever's going on, or give us that feeling of, I have somebody, something that's close enough to me that I feel that love, because a lot of people don't. Or is it that life learning lesson of, I need to learn how to take care of something that's completely helpless and be able to kind of diagnose problems without, you know, some animals end up being more needy and have illnesses than others do. Some of them have behavioral problems that are difficult, and you got to figure out how to unravel that. And some of them are responsibility things. So each one of them, they always end up teaching us a different type of life lesson in different points of our lives. So we can't ever expect them to be repeated, and we can't ever expect them to be that same ball of energy that we had from the previous one. So explaining that to people, and explaining, when they say, well, am I going to have them again? Well, a lot of times, yes, we will have them come back again, but they're going to come back in another form that's familiar enough for you to go, yep, that's them, but
Mhm.
it's going to be different enough to where you're going to have a completely different experience. You're never going to feel that same thing all over again.
Yeah.
So that's what's hard but interesting, and why we should always keep our hearts open for it to happen again.
Yeah. I love that.
So,
Do you think that people receive that well? Like when you explain this to them, you think I'm sure it helps a ton. You know.
yeah, yeah, I think they do. And especially, you come across those people that are like, oh, is he mad at me because I went and got another puppy already? Or, oh, is he mad at me because I went and got another kitten? Or I already rescued another adult cat. And they feel this guilt because they went and did this so quickly. Or then you have the opposite side of the story of, I just can't do this again. And they feel like they're being selfish.
Mhm.
So explaining that, some people, they need to fill that void right away, and that's okay. And some people, they can't, and they have to do things at their own pace. And that's okay too. They're individuals just like we're individuals. So having that sense of timing with yourself and giving yourself the grace to do what you need to do, they just want us to be happy. Just like when our loved ones cross over, they want us to continue to be happy. If you lose a parent, if you lose a spouse, they don't want us. We're here to experience and to learn and to grow and to fulfill our soul while it's here, not to wallow in our misery and plod along missing them for the rest of our life. We're always going to miss them, but we always have to keep that in the forefront of we have to continue to live our lives and learn our lessons.
Yeah.
So trying to, just keep that in the grand big picture of it's a process and you need to continue with the process. However, that is important and how that fits into your life. That's what you have to do.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you. That was very insightful. Um, I, like how you said with sometimes you get a new animal right away and sometimes they have characteristics, but they're different. We had a huge, he was 22 pounds. He was
Wow.
when I got him on the streets, he was 16. So
Oh,
his paws were like, I have like an imprint of him somewhere. They were huge. I think he might have been like part ragdoll maybe or something. He was
okay.
just a big, meaty guy. He was a
Yeah.
country cat too.
Okay.
But when he passed, I was so devastated when he passed because the whole way it happened was just horrible and he got real sick and then whatever. It was just a mess. But as it always is, right? It's never
Right.
easy. Um,
Right.
and within like I want to say, oh, very quick actually, because he passed on Thanksgiving in 22. And then by like December 6th or 9th, we had a kitten that had been trapped. We've been trying to catch the mom for a long time, and we got this little. He was like 3 months old. He was like this little bizarre looking tuxedo with like real long collar, but like everything else was. He was very strange looking. They were like, we don't know why he looks like this, but we think he's special. And when we I mean, he almost immediately had like the same sort of characteristics, very
Yeah.
like unique things that his name is Metzi. What Titus was the big guy. He was just like a little Titus, but completely different. Titus was orange, and huge. Metzi is the smallest. I want to say he's one of those like, I don't even know. There's a type of cat. I forget what it's called, but that's like really,
Munchkin.
yeah, he's like
Mhm.
super small, short legs,
Yep.
real
A munchkin.
yeah, but
Yeah.
he is, and we think he was raised by like, I don't know, some kind of wild animals because which makes sense, but he sounds like a wild turkey a lot of times. And like I mean, he is so unique. He is a very strange little guy. But yeah, that fulfillment, I felt like it was too soon, but it was everything I needed, right? And I feel like
Yeah.
that's kind
Yeah.
of what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Let me ask you this. When I lost Titus, I was trying to find like, some solace, right? Of course,
Mhm.
even though I'm so connected and in tune, doesn't, it doesn't, mean that stuff doesn't hit me just as hard, right?
Right.
Um, And this woman I listened to, she said that which makes total sense to me with humans, and so with cats or animals, it would, that part of them will always be with us, right? Like when someone says part of it's always in your heart, you're always connected. And the way she described it was like part of their soul was, like with source,
Hmm.
and then part of their like spirit or soul, however she described it, would always be like here,
Hmm.
and kind of wherever else, maybe their energy, she didn't say that, but I would say like anywhere else that it's needed, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. So this is something that I've come across before trying to kind of explain the same thing. Like when they cross over, they it's like leaving an element of them here and an element of them goes, and then that whole like reincarnation process, they if that's something that you subscribe to, not everybody does, but if that is something that you believe in, then they can, but yet another element of them is there. So it's almost like being in three places or four places. And it's like this whole multi-dimensional thing because you can go down this whole nother rabbit hole
yeah,
about that,
yeah,
being in multi dimensions. We're neither here nor there. We're everywhere
we're
because we're all part of
everywhere. Yep,
source.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's that whole concept. And just like, you and I, we're here and we're there and we're everywhere.
Right.
Our energy is like, it's almost like the same concept of right now we're actually in a dream, you
Hmm.
know?
Yep.
Um, so yes, that is something that I believe is true. That that's why you can kind of feel them and see them sometimes, and it's kind of hard to wrap your brain around. Well, are they stuck here? No, they're not stuck here. There's still parts of them here
Yes,
visiting us,
yes.
and that's why sometimes we don't feel them and feel them 24/7. And then all of a sudden, you're like, what just brushed up against my leg?
Yes, yes, yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah, what was walking? And then you're like, okay, one, two, three. Nope, there's everybody. What
Right,
was just in the kitchen?
right, right. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, do you think that like if you're mentioning reincarnation, um, and of course not everybody, you know, believes in that or understands that or whatever, but if you do, or if even if not, what do you think about animals and people and um, any sort of, well, I don't know. Karmically, can you come back as an animal? Can an animal be reincarnated as a human? I would like to hear your take on that, please.
So I am not sure about a human coming back as an animal or an animal coming back as a human. I would say if you asked me this a few years ago, I would say absolutely not.
Okay.
But at this point in my life, I would say nothing is impossible. Um, because I would have said a couple of years ago that a dog would never come back as a cat. But now I have a cat that I know was my pug. Um, so that theory is kind of blown out of the water. So if I am 100% convinced that my pug Omar that passed away 3 years ago is now my cat Merlin,
Uh-huh.
um, then why couldn't that happen?
Yeah.
I just haven't experienced a a actual. Wait a minute, is that Uncle Joe stuck in there?
Right.
I haven't,
Right. Right. Right.
I haven't experienced something like that yet. So I don't think it's an impossibility. Do I think it's a likelihood? No. Um, I'm not sure that not saying that animals are less evolved because I actually think they're higher evolved than we are.
Cheers.
Um, but I don't think that they are here learning the same type of lessons that we are. Um, their lessons they're here for such a shorter amount of time. I don't think that their lessons are necessarily as involved as ours are. It's almost like they're here to get a short glimpse into things,
Mm,
not here to go through as long of a process as we are. So it's almost like they're guardian spirits here to check
yes.
in and out on things
Yeah,
versus you got to learn something. So
right.
here's what your task is, and you can learn it this way or you can learn it that way. You figure it out.
Mhm. I love that. Like, so it's like maybe they come back as, like you're saying, guardians. I highly believe that. And they're here to just make sure that we're like, learning, right? Learning the lessons or helping us learn the lessons. So if they're more higher, evolved, right? If they're on a higher plane or whatever, it's like they're the ones who are actually teaching us so much more. And I feel like if more people looked at creatures
Yeah.
that way, there would be so much more
Yeah.
reverence for their
Yes.
existence.
Yes. Yes. I think there would be a lot more respect for them and a lot more people would take the time to learn about them more and not just in the aspect of everybody would have a dog and a cat, but people would assert more energy into learning about nature itself and like how the world works and how to take care of things better
Yeah,
just holistically.
yeah, right. Because again, we're all one. We're all
Yeah,
one thing.
right, right.
Yeah,
Everything in itself is connected.
yeah. I'll have to have you do a read on my one cat sometime because everybody who knows our relationship is like he is like your he's like constant. He's a very like observant. We call him the sheriff, because he's like he's just like always staring at me. He
Yeah,
watches
yeah.
everything I do, and he follows me constantly, and he like drags this, he'll find like a stuffed whatever, like they make toys that look like dead animals now, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
so he'll drag one of his like, a skunk or whatever around, and he's got it stuffed in his mouth while he's like making these really pathetic crying, sounds. And he's dragging it around the house, trying to tell me it's time to go to bed. That's his way of
Oh,
telling me it's time to go. And then he does this thing on my feet. It's so bizarre. He never started doing it until like a couple years after I had him. Um, we had to spend some time apart while I was getting some treatment. And when he came back, he started doing this thing where he walks in a circle and his body like twitches, and he goes in reverse, and it's so bizarre. It's like I looked
ah,
it up, and only one place I could ever find said it's some sort of like mating ritual sort of thing. And I was like, from where? Like from what? Like it's very primal. And it's always on my feet, and he like it's very bizarre. I don't know what it is, but we are going to have to take a deep dive in that one day. I gotta know. I gotta know. So,
yeah. I'm
um,
envisioning like a peacock and doing their dance with their plumage.
yes, yes, it's something. It is something. I don't know
Oh
what it
my
is.
goodness.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my goodness.
very,
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that one out for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, it's very unique.
Oh my goodness.
So, let me ask you, when, like, when people first meet you, um do you think you're meeting more people by like people are specifically looking for animal communication, or I mean it could be obviously however many ways people meet you, but or is it they're looking for a medium and then you tell them what you do, and how do you explain to them what it is that you do?
Um, that is very dependent on the the venue that I'm going to.
Okay.
Now, I would say like I would say I'm going to say it's probably a 60-40 blend of where how I get reached out. Like my direct contacts, I would say it's probably 60% animal communication reach outs and 40% general mediumship. Just I need a mediumship reading. But events, I would say it's mostly animal communication because that's what people are like, oh, the animal communicator is coming.
Yes.
So, um, mostly like the one that I did Sunday, it was, I went to a place that was a pet centric restaurant that, allowed you to bring your pet to. So they were expecting the animal communicator to kind of be there. So that was pretty fun. It was the first time I'd ever been out there before, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what was going on. Whatever it was looked really cool. I was like, this is
Yeah.
different, but I didn't know that it was at like a specific like pet friendly, I mean,
Yeah, it
it
was
has to be, but yeah,
yeah, it
okay.
was a
Awesome.
pet restaurant, um, and they have like wine and stuff. And they have like a little boutique where they sell pet toys and clothes and some people clothes and stuff too. But they had really cute little wine bottles that had like different kinds of pets and stuff on it. It was a really cute place. Yeah.
What's the name of it? Where is it
It's
located?
called Rough Life, and it's in Geneva on the Lake.
Okay.
It's called Rough Life on the Lake.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
anybody who watches this and is
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
that's awesome. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And
Thank
we're
you.
going to be there once a month all summer. I won't be there in
Oh,
July because I already had a vacation planned when Illuminate made their schedule for the summer. So I won't be
yeah.
there in July, but I'll be there June and August and September. I'll be there.
Oh, how
So
cool. Oh my
yeah,
gosh. That sounds
yeah,
like a blast.
yeah,
Really.
yeah. It was fun. I was busy all day.
So yeah,
All
I
day
bet.
long.
Oh my God, I bet. You need like a whole group of you, like of just you, like working all the tables.
Yeah, I definitely needed to be a couple of people on Sunday. That was for sure.
Yeah, I bet. I would I would love to like, I would love I like if you had like a log, I bet you have like the most amazing like stories of, these what different animals, like what they're, saying or what their relationships were and stuff like that. Like you could have a whole,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got some stories, that's for sure.
Yeah. I bet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people, I guess one of the most common questions that people ask me is like, do you hear them talking? And I'm like, thank goodness, no. No, I don't hear them
Interesting. Okay.
jabbering away. I mean, some people I
Oh,
guess do hear like a voice and them like actually talking to them, but I don't, thank goodness. I've only happened to had that happen to me um one time distinctly that I remember, and I was not doing an animal reading. I was actually doing a mediumship reading for a person, and this dog popped in and gave me like this specific direction for something. And I was like, this is weird. This isn't happening to me when I'm doing my animal communication. And this dog was just like, it was verbalizing something. And, but when I'm doing readings with animals, it's more of I'm getting visuals of things and seeing like snippets of things that are going on. Like for example, one that I did on Sunday of this lady had the cutest little Pomeranian, and I'm seeing all the stuff around the house and seeing, people that he liked and objects that he liked and things that he didn't like and other pets in the house. And she was just like, how do you know that? And I'm like, well, I'm seeing it.
uh-huh. Yeah.
So it's more of like pictures of stuff and then inner knowing. So most, and with all of my reading, when I'm doing, it doesn't matter if it's animal, if I'm doing mediumship readings, if I'm doing, even if I'm doing card readings, it's clairvoyance and claircognizance. It's just like that. Those are my two strongest muscles, I guess, that it's like, I see it, I know it. I see it, I know it. I see it, I know it. And then I have to slow down sometimes if I'm not getting the right amount of details and kind of like, okay, slow down, pay attention a little bit better, get the other details and start pulling other things out and start using those other muscles that you have.
Mm.
So,
That's such a, go ahead. Sorry.
and just get these other details. And that's something that, I'm constantly taking classes and working with other trained mediums to work those muscles and learn how to use them better, because when you, and I don't know if you've experienced this, when you're, especially when you're doing a lot of like fairs and events and stuff, that you're doing these 10 and 15-minute, even sometimes 20-minute readings, and you're going really fast, you get in a bad habit of just getting details and moving on, getting this, move on, get this, move on. And I want to really try to
Yes.
slow myself down so I can get these better details. And sometimes I just have to like slow down. What
Yeah.
do you hear? You can get better. Slow down. What
Yeah.
else do you hear?
Mm. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I noticed it was one of the last shows I think I did, and I was like just trying to, because of the pace, right? There's so
Right.
the pace, and then the not just like individually, but like the whole scene, and there's
Yeah.
so much energy flying around.
Yes. Yes.
And like,
Yes.
when you're on a time, when you're restricted in your time or whatever, like you're trying to give them as much information as you can. But
Yeah.
I remember distinctly like the last show, where was it? I just remember going, slow down, like there's
Yeah.
more there. You're telling them what you're seeing. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that that's the message. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
it's like, okay, wait a
Right.
second. So
Right.
yeah, you got to learn that discernment and,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. And you either end up misinterpreting something,
as
or you end up missing a really important detail that may have made more sense to them than what you just said.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I know we briefly discussed this, but like I would love to do your totem sometime. And then um like last night, just speaking on that whole subject, like I do like journeys for people. I'll do, so basically it's like I do a whole like I like to tell people that don't quite understand it is that it's almost like as if I'm doing a reading for you, or like I'm in like a trance and I'm doing, getting information and bringing it back. But like sometimes I'll see like the most obscure, like thing. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what does that even mean? And then I have to ask, but I ask the spirits, like, what does that mean? And then they show me,
Yeah.
like deeper, meanings. And
Yeah.
it's just so awesome to like continually, develop your skill
Oh,
set,
yeah. Yeah.
and you teach
Absolutely.
classes. So tell us about
Yep.
that.
Yep. So I do teach classes. I do have an online right now. Actually, tomorrow night at Illuminate is I have development circle. And I've been teaching a development circle there for a couple of years now. In the summertime, I take off at that development circle. And because I've got so many events and stuff in the summertime, it gets hard. So the development circle is basically what I am teaching is mediumship and psychic abilities are like go hand in hand with each other. Um, you, I'm sure you've probably heard this. A lot of people have heard this saying, all mediums are psychics, but not all psychics are mediums.
Yeah.
And the reason that is psychics don't typically seek or want or have developed the ability to connect to spirit. Everybody can,
Right.
if they want to, and if they want to put the effort into doing it and learn how. Some people naturally just start seeing things and can, and that's the road that they start on. But mediums who are already connected to spirit are already using the clairs. So, and when I'm teaching, what I work on in my development circles is exercising those muscles. And I'll do every time we meet, we'll do an activity to that's focused on, one of the clairs and giving people confidence to use them and doing something that sometimes I do things that are a little that trick people into giving them more confidence. And they end up doing a reading and they don't know that they're actually doing one, which is kind of funny. I'm sitting there going, you just gave her a reading. So, and I try to make it fun. So, it's not something that's mechanical or anything at all. And my biggest thing that I start off with at the beginning when I start classes back up and periodically through the whole processes are making sure people have ethics. I mean, the ethics part of the whole thing is really, really important for anybody who is doing this type of work, whether you're doing pendulum readings, tarot readings, psychic readings, mediumship readings, whatever you are doing, when you are connecting with an energy, a spirit, an auric field, whatever it is, and you are delivering some sort of message to somebody, it has to be done ethically. And if you do not know how to do that and are not informed of that, you can really do some damage to somebody. And you may be doing it from the most genuine part of your heart, but you can really, really hurt somebody because one, they may not understand what you're saying. Two, they may not be in the right headspace. And three, it could be completely against their belief system and it could scare them so bad.
Right.
And you've just done irreparable damage to them that
Right.
you honestly didn't mean to do. So that's something that I heavily, heavily kind of beat home when I'm teaching development circles and anything that I'm doing that's in the divinatory practices. But I teach pendulum reading classes, channeling classes. One of these days, I'm going to get my crap together and teach an animal communication class. But the vision that I have of doing it is kind of time consuming. So I just haven't had the time to kind of format everything the way I want it to go. When I learned how to do this, I took a class and she did it well. But there was a lot of things in there. I thought that, the front end of it, I feel there was a lot of holes in the front end. And because of where I started, it was okay. But I know there was a couple of people in there struggling because they didn't know about a lot of the basics and connection. So I feel like there's some front end stuff that needs to be added to that. So eventually I will get that together so I can teach an animal communication class. And I've been working on doing trance for the last year. My final class, I'm so sad it's over with on Sunday. I'll be done with my trance class that I've been doing. So I plan on down the road teaching some of that too.
Awesome. Yeah, you're busy. It's
Yeah.
great. It's
Yeah.
great. I love
Yeah.
it. Not everybody can, hone in on their skill and teach, not
Yeah.
everybody can do that. And it is so time consuming, first of
It
all,
is. It
because it's
is.
not just the time in the classroom, it's all the
Right.
preparation and,
Yep.
the delivery of it, right? It's very
Yep.
important. And then the advertising and all that sort of
Yep.
stuff and the planning and whatever. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So,
And and I have a full-time regular job.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And then like if you're working on top of
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot. So you have to be really dedicated and organized, I would imagine, to
Yeah,
pull that all off.
exactly.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Um, I have a question about the animal communication. When you're teaching it, like, so I had a I have a lot of like vision, a lot of I get shown a lot of things about like where we're sort of going with our earth, like with all the energies changing and everything. And I tell people a lot that one of the biggest things I have been shown and experience is this telepathy with animals.
Yep.
And it's like a communication strictly from a place of love.
Hmm.
And it's like this understood, it's already this understood, like this understanding without us needing to be verbal. And I feel like we're all kind of going in that direction, those of us who are in this, new the new earth thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and but I am so like I'm so I can be so certain of myself when I know what an animal is thinking or
Hmm.
feeling in the moment. And that's part of being an empath,
Yeah.
and you have to be very discerning with your, empathy. And being an empath, it's very different from just having empathy for somebody,
Right.
it's
Right.
so different. And
Right.
um like I get sometimes I get so upset when I see, and I'm just bringing this up so you can maybe expand on this because I'm sure you have this experience yourself. But like when you see a relationship with an animal and like their owner, or their person or whatever, or like, just even the community cats, I'm always sending out like a blanket of light, and just like trying to like, okay, they're gonna find their right place to sleep and their food or whatever for the night.
Right.
And like, but it it's so hard when you can connect with the animal and then like know what's being done to them is like it's out of your control,
Yeah.
and all you can do is send, the good stuff
Yeah.
and maybe drop some seeds, right? But like, how do you? It's hard. Can you talk about that for a second?
Yeah, it's very difficult. And several before I started doing this, it was suggested to me that I do this. And I was like, no way. Mm-mm, no way. Um, One, I was looking at it and framing it like Dr. Doolittle, like,
Mhm.
watching Dr. Doolittle and all these animals going, nee, 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 just talking away. And I was like, I cannot, I can't handle all of that. I can't handle all of them talking to me all the time. Not understanding, it didn't quite work that way. And the other thing was what I was feeling when I would see, this horse that was a bag of bones, standing out in a field, or going to a horse show and seeing this horse that was in top shape out in a show pen, but was completely miserable because it was overtrained and it was just being abused because it was being overtrained, and feeling that energy come off of it. And I'm like, I don't want to hear, being selfish, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to hear it, because having that empathy and feeling that energy already, it's like, how am I going to control that? How am I going to not lose my mind, you know, having it magnified 10 times over if I start doing stuff like that? Um, so little did I know that the state I was in then, I was actually a wide open circuit. So I was feeling 10 times more, seeing 10 times more, and taking on 10 times more before I learned how to actually communicate and have those borders and boundaries and being able to kind of shut things on and off. So being able to kind of protect my energy and having that on and off switch of allowing things in and out. So I'm not, and this, I guess it doesn't sound the greatest, but being able to shut that off so I'm not constantly hearing that all the time. Um, because whether it's good or bad or indifferent, you do have to lead your life and live in your own skin every day. So, you do have to shut things down. And it still does infuriate me when and I do say stuff to people and I do address people. And I mean, I'm not 25 years old with a hot temper where I would jump out of my car and go and bang my hand on somebody's windshield anymore. No, I'd never do something like that. Um,
Oh, I hear you.
um, I'm much older than that now, and I know that there's lawsuits and jail sentences. So I just
Oh my God, yeah.
I can control my temper a little bit better. But I do, I do say things when I see things wrong, and I do address things that need to be addressed. But it is difficult to have to face things like that, feeling like that, because you still perceive it, you still know it's there. But when you do learn how to kind of open and close, you kind of don't feel it the same way as you did before.
Yeah, it's like you have like a I don't know if this is how you work, but I have to almost like what I've had to learn to do, first of all, is obviously create boundaries, right?
Mhm.
And also for me, it has to do with putting a lot of trust in spirit and just knowing that this is not everything. This
Right.
is this is like a blip, of sensory, right? Like some sort of sensory experience that we're able to have in a container to take with our evolving consciousness. And like, so it's
Yes.
like this experience of, I'm feeling this way, I'm seeing this, but it's not just me, it's what this animal and this person are experiencing together. And I can't
Right.
control that. It's like
Yes.
because empaths want to control everything because
Yes.
that's how we feel safe because
Yeah.
we don't want the world to fall apart around us,
Yes.
um and like I have to just really like breathe through a lot of stuff. And again, it's like all you could do is like, you know, drop seeds, right? Like, so say something,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then like
Yes.
do what you can do energetically and spiritually, and that's it. And it's
Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, there is such thing as karma, and that will get solved.
yeah.
I mean, it is going to come back around to the poor treatment and the poor caretaking of whatever is going on in that situation. Um, and when it's a situation of I can't afford, I can't care for, I, I encourage people to, reach out to, and, there's been times that, it's like, here's a resource. If you can't do this anymore, here's a resource. This person will help you. With the livestock is so, I could go down this huge, I can get on this giant soapbox about livestock because it's such a different ballgame than dogs and cats. It's completely different. And the cruelty on that side of the gamut is just completely different than it is with dogs and cats. There's so much more help for dogs and cats than there is for your average dairy cow or
Yeah.
horse. There's not, people don't understand. There's not a humane society you can drop a
Yes.
horse off when you can't afford them. It's called
Right.
a livestock sale. And we don't even want to go down the road of what happens when they go to a livestock sale.
No, now you have, I'm like, I don't want to talk about any of that, but no, I mean, the
Yeah.
first time I ever saw like a beef cattle like farm, I would
Yeah.
loosely say that was out in California. Like I smelled it first.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
miles and miles
Oh,
away.
yeah.
And then to see them like packed in like that was just, it's so gut wrenching.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's a very challenging, um,
Yeah.
very challenging. And I just can't imagine like how you would, on a daily just, um, yeah, exactly. That was an excellent point. Like there's no humane society for like, because they're treated like a commodity. That's it.
Yeah. They're
It's not,
either treated like a tool or they're treated like a commodity. It's one or the other.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have, well, how many animals do you have?
Let's see. Right now, I have 5 dogs and 2 cats and 4 horses and about 25 chickens. So
Awesome.
a little farm.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little thing.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you have help? I mean, do you have like you have to have
Yes.
helpers, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I have help after work that I pick up on my way home from work during the week that come and help me in the barn. And then I just got some help on the weekends to come and do the horse stalls and stuff in the evenings. He has another farm job and he comes over and has been doing the horse stalls for me when he's done with his other barn job. So.
Yeah. That's not like a job you can call off and just take the day off,
No,
you know?
no. And a lot of people who own horses, they're like, "Yeah, they're fine for 3 or 4 days without cleaning their stalls." A lot of people are like that, and not mine. No, they're going to get their stalls cleaned if I have the flu. And the people I work with tease me. And one guy this winter told me he was going to get me like the holsters, pair of holsters to wear to put Lysol in. 'Cause I'm like, I
Ah,
yell at people. I'm like, get out of my office. And I have Lysol. Somebody comes in and they're sick, and I start spraying Lysol all over the place. I'm like, unless you want to come over when I have the flu and
yeah.
clean 4 horse stalls and take care of a small farm, then get out of my office because I don't want your crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Heck no. Oh
Yeah,
my,
they don't get it. They don't get it. I don't have a gaggle of kids and, a
right.
bunch of people to, no, you go and do this. I don't feel good. So,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's no fun. And and especially when you're so busy, you can't like
Yeah.
take that, take a day out is like or like, it's unexpectedly or not planned is like can
Right.
be really tough, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. There's no such thing as sick days around here.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Have you ever thought of like working with all these people and then working with their relationships with their, beloved pets? Um, has it ever given you an idea of something that could be done, like a new sort of, like I don't know how to say this, like a new business idea or like things that are needed. Like particularly I'm thinking of, I don't know why this just came out of nowhere, but like when people pass, and their animals are now in the hands of who the hell knows,
Yeah.
making those arrangements or something. I don't know, like it doesn't have to be that specifically, but like, is there
Yeah.
anything that you've seen that's been like, people should learn X, Y, and Z, or there should be some sort of, whatever like that. I don't know. I just felt like I had to ask you this for some reason.
Um, Not that in particular, but that is something to definitely put thought into. Um, I do end up doing a lot of readings for people who have gotten rescues. And that is something that I have thought about doing is working with rescues who have intakes, and maybe that's something to focus on is people who are doing intakes with pets that have, lost their owners because their owners have passed, um, to help kind of guide them in the direction of how to integrate that pet into another home.
Hmm.
Um, because I do end up getting a lot of people who have pets that they've adopted that have specific behaviors that they're trying to figure out how do I help them integrate into my household because I want to help them and they are adjusting, but there's these things that they're doing and how do I fix that? And with the living pets that I work with, that is the most common thing is I adopted XYZ pet, they're doing this, how do I fix it? And that is that I find is something I feel like I can really help with. And even when I've gone to boarding facilities and talked with people with their horses, and they've got a new partnership with this horse, and this horse has got these little quirks, and um, going over, what is why this horse is spooking and where this pain is coming from and what kind of traumas it's had in the past and if the trainer was heavy-handed and or if it was lacking the type of training it should have had when it was younger, that kind of stuff. And that is what I really, 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 really love to do. That's where when I start getting into doing working with animals and doing readings, that's where my passion really lies, is doing that kind of work. Um,
That's beautiful.
the problem, and I don't want to call it a problem, but the roadblock, I guess is what I should call it, is a lot of people you go in to do stuff like that and they're like, oh, this is a bunch of bull. This is crap. So you have to find that person that one, and all it takes is one, to get into that facility and they say, well, this really helped and this is the proof. So if you can get in somewhere and have that person, kind of show the proof and you get a couple more people's buy-in and, it's kind of like that waterfall effect. But it is very impactful and helpful to be able to do that and to help these animals that don't have a voice and figure out what can best help them get reintegrated into a home.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so important. You know, there's so many animals, like you said, like we don't know what their like bedtime routine was,
Yeah,
or like just the smallest little quirky
yeah,
things that your animals, your pets do, or what
yeah,
kind of trauma they've gone through, or whatever it is. And sometimes I'm like, I'm going to have to write down every detail about each of my animals in case, something ever
yeah,
happens to me. Like people need to know that this is what their, routine is or whatever. Cause
yeah,
it's so sad. And it's hard when people discard, um, like, like they look at animals as a lost cause without even trying first.
yes,
You know,
yes,
very
yeah,
sad.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
because one of my horses, if she, well, actually, all four of my horses, if something happened to me tomorrow and they had to go to a different home, it would be really hard on them. Not just because of them not being around me, but because all of them have very unique quirks. I mean, Rainy she hates being outside for all day. She doesn't act like a horse. She doesn't like being outside all day long. She's good for a few hours. Then she's over the bugs. She's over the heat. She wants to be in her stall underneath a fan. And Hollywood, who used to hate being inside, likes being inside, but you can't leave him out too long and if his feet get wet, then he starts having medical issues if his feet get wet. My little mini rooster, he's not a rooster. His name is Rooster.
Okay.
He can't eat hay anymore. He has to have soaked hay pellets. He has to have mash. He can't chew hay anymore. And Kitty, she's a little miniature too. You can't put her out with a bunch of horses because she thinks she's, the size of a Clydesdale and she'll get herself killed. Picking fights with everybody. So, they all have their quirks that you would have to figure out.
Yeah.
Rainy would probably colic herself. Hollywood's feet would rot off. Rooster would choke himself to death on things, and Kitty would get herself killed. So
Right.
it'd be a train wreck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's ugh, oh my God. Yeah,
yeah,
there's so much. Horses are awesome too.
yeah,
Mhm. I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions if that's okay, and then
yep.
we can wrap it up. This has been great. Um, are there signs from departed like people or pets, either way, in your mediumship that you think people may commonly overlook?
Um, Pets, yes. When pets come in and visit, the most common things that I come across is they like to come back and come into their familiar areas to lay down and where they like to move around in the house. So if you're sitting quietly in your home, you will kind of like what I mentioned before, you'll be sitting there quietly and then you'll hear something and if you have other pets, you'll start counting them and you're like, nope. They're all laying down, but I hear something moving in the kitchen, or I heard something jump off of a chair, or I felt something push on my leg. That is very, very common when they're coming around to visit you to let you know that they're, or you'll see that dimple in the bed that you made. And you're like, I just made that. Why is there look like, the cat laid on the bed? Those are very common signs that they've been around visiting you. Um, people People like to come, and a really common one is they like to come and they like to look out for you. And they especially like to come and look out for you when you're going through a lot of stress and you are in a hurry and they're trying to tell you to slow down, and they like to mess with things, and they're like, and they have a difficult time. They can't like really pick up things and move things on you, but they distract you. And you're looking for your keys, your wallet, your cell phone, your purse, your wallet, whatever it may be, and you're like, where the heck did I put it? And you cannot for the life of you remember, but it's slowing you down to keep you from leaving on time, or it's making you pay attention to something else that you forgot where it was. And you're like, oh, well, there's that. I wasn't looking for it, but there it is. So they're doing things to either help you find something else, distract you from leaving and getting caught up in traffic, or the little fender bender that you could have possibly been in. Um, or they're like, let's just mess with them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That I do kind of come across that stuff a lot. And it's also signals that it's validation for they've been there recently, and it comes in as you could not find your wallet last week and it took you 45 minutes to find it. And they're like, oh yeah. And it's like, yeah, grandpa was actually, told me that. And he was, so it comes through as a validation point. So,
Wow. Thank you. I try
mhm.
all the time to go, okay. I like yesterday, whatever, it's a whole thing, but all the time. If the timing isn't what you wanted, expected, or whatever, It's like, this is supposed to be this way. They're saving me from something,
Yep.
or even just my interaction with another person is going to make that person's life change in some way. So it's
Yes.
so much
Yes.
bigger than just us,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you want a sign from them, be very, very specific. If you say, Mom, I got to hear from you. I want you to send me XYZ symbol in the next 24 hours. And it has to look like this. And if it's a cardinal, don't look for a cardinal that's going to land on your porch rail. Look for a cardinal that could land on your porch rail. It could be a picture of a cardinal. It could be a painting of a cardinal. It could be a cardinal statue. You just look for the cardinal that's going to come up in 24 hours, but it'll happen. Don't get
Yeah.
caught up on the bird,
Yeah. Right. Right.
you
I
know?
know. Yep. Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
People, I feel like a lot of people, many more people we know are waking up to understanding, like,
Yeah.
how it works, I guess, or
Yeah.
like to our best of our knowledge of how
Yes.
we've experienced these things and patterns.
Yes.
Um, okay. And then let me ask you, um, have you ever had, um, well, let me ask you about your personal, like, just really quick. What is something that people are often like, they don't know about you that maybe they're surprised to learn about you, if you want to share?
Um, I am not from Ohio.
Hmm.
I did not grow up here. People will start talking about TV shows, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and um, I moved here in 2001. So I've been here for kind of a while now, but I still call Albuquerque home. One of these days, I hope to get back there because the winters here are terrible.
So bad. They're so bad. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that I don't think a lot of people know
Mm. Mm-mm.
that that I'm a transplant.
Yeah. Transplant. Do you still have family there?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
do. My parents don't live there anymore either. They moved the year before I did. They're in Colorado. So mom and dad are in
Oh.
Colorado, and then I have I have an aunt uncle and my cousin that I grew up with are still in New Mexico. That my cousin's an only child and I'm an only child. There's another fun fact. So we grew up very close. So
Oh, you're an only child?
yep, I'm an only
Okay.
child.
Okay.
Yep.
I was gonna ask if you had siblings. Okay.
Nope. Nope, I'm an only child. Only,
Yeah.
only.
My
Yep.
daughter's an only child. Sometimes I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I blame it on that. And I'm like, nah, yeah, I don't know. There's these stereotypical things. But I know that she does really well with animals too. So maybe that's also a thing.
Yeah.
With,
It
just being
just
able to, like, I don't know.
yeah, it just kind of sucks when you get older and you're the only one.
That
Yeah.
is what worries me on a
Yeah.
personal level about her, is
Yeah.
she doesn't really have, like, she has cousins, but I only have one brother, and
Mhm.
she doesn't have any first cousins on my side,
Oh. Oh.
and the other side she doesn't talk to. So all of my cousins, like my youngest cousin is a year older than her.
Oh, okay.
So they're like this,
Yeah.
but still, like, she's not going to have, my brother's not even married. So, like, there's not,
Yeah.
like, this is the last of the bloodline of my father and mother's
Oh
bloodline.
my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
wild
gosh.
to think.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah. That's wild.
interesting concept. Yeah, you wonder who comes here and when we come here, to change things, right? Or end things, or
Yeah.
be the ones to complete cycles for our ancestors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else you would like people to know before we wrap it up?
Um,
And that could be even like what you're doing coming up this summer or whatever, however you want to.
uh, well, I do have more stuff coming up this summer. Where am I at next? I'm going to, where am I going to be next? Am I at Peace, Love, and Crystals next? Yes, I am. I'm at Peace, Love, and Crystals on the 5th. Yes, I'm there on the 5th. Am I there on the 5th? And I'm going to Huron this weekend on Saturday at It's Your Journey.
Oh,
And it's they're out by Vermilion out in Huron. And it's a really, really cool shop. Travis Sanders works out there, and he's amazing. I've taken classes from him. He's just the sweetest, kindest soul. If you ever get a chance to go out to It's Your Journey, he's amazing. So I'm going to be out there doing readings on Saturday. So that's my next stop. And I'm doing a couple of things at Peace, Love, and Crystals over the summer. So I'm there at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. So
yeah,
I love them. They're awesome.
they are.
And I'm doing a couple more. I'm doing the Rough Life thing, like I said, at least once a month. And this Sunday, I have my online development circle. I do those once a month. And after the summer, I'm going to get in the cadence of doing them regularly, a specific Sunday a month. I started that, and I already had I had a bunch of events booked, so I couldn't target them once a month. So I'll be doing them like regularly. And starting next month, I'm going to start doing a newsletter once a month. So I'll have that coming up down the pipe too.
And your website?
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to be, I'm going to be sending that from my Medium Chris Clardy, email. And yeah, my website is mediumchrisclardy.com. And I started it originally and it was called Tarot and Lenormand for Chris because I was card reader at first.
Mhm, mhm.
So there's some attachment. It'll say, Tarot and Lenormand by Chris. So it's not to be confused.
Perfect. And how
So.
long have you been doing this? I didn't even ask you that.
I started reading tarot. My gosh, I've been reading cards now for like 9 years, I think. And I started doing like mediumship readings and animal communication readings. I've been doing it publicly for 5 years now. But I've been seeing things and experiencing things since I was a teenager. So I just didn't know it was something that I could actually learn about and do for a long time.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
like,
in the big grand scheme of things, practicing and actually doing public stuff, I'm fairly new.
yeah, but you're busy and you're really
Mhm.
diving in, and it's
Yeah.
really great for the
Yeah.
community too. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
all the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, this has been my pleasure. Thank you
Yeah.
so much
No,
for
they're very
have a good
welcome.
one. All right, I'll talk
You
to you
too.
soon.
All
Okay,
right.
bye.
Bye.